Good day, brothers and sisters, near and far, community, One Nation Tribal Alliance. Today, I am back again to continue my story on, getting to know who Imsa Greg Yawakia is. And if you notice, I'm at a different location today, so I am outside enjoying the sun, enjoying the weather, enjoying the view. So just bear with me on the background noises as tell you about it today. Yesterday, I stopped at my journey to Egypt and Israel and to Tibetan, where I sat with the Buddhists and learned about, raising your vibrations. And all those things that I learned, it started to, I guess, transform me into becoming a better um, practitioner because I started mastering the modalities that I was, you know, as my gifts, from psychic surgery to energy healing to, you know, herbal healings to really, get my vibration up in a higher realm to where, I started to learn how to forgive. And, today I just want to talk a little bit more about where I left off. So, you know, after Egypt, after I was telling you all about a story about going to the salt lake and picking up the salt. And when I sat down and started meditating out there, I felt the warmth, the love, and the peace and the happiness and just everything, comfort and safety. When sat there and what I felt at Egypt in front of Sphinx, when I felt Isis upon me, I was there at, you know, and in Zuni, Matlokatsuki is basically the lady that brought the medicine to Zuni people. Even though we have our own separate, what would you say, history or oral history about how our medicine came to the village, you know, again, I strongly believe that it was through ISIS because we talk about, you know, what's thought ever in America and all this kind of stuff. You know, when I reviewed the audio video on Cahokia Mounds, they found Birdman. I mean, and when I start reviewing the Emerald Tablets, studying the Emerald Tablets, it clearly states that, you know, one of the, I guess, chapter or page, whatever, of the Emerald Tablets did come to the Mayans and the Aztecs to where they had it hid in one of their temples, sun temples on the Yucatan Peninsula. So, and thus, again, I'm just s- telling you what I read in the past of my studies, and that is that the early explorers, Powell, um, he came to Grand Canyon and he found a little hole on the side of the mountain and climbed up there and actually was lowered into that, according to the story, was lowered into that hole. And when he got down to the first part of that place, he said that he saw a town or a city that would probably house about 5,000 people, and it was an Egyptian village. And later on, in the early 1900s, Kincaid, the second explorer, found the same thing and went in there and again said the same thing. And in Arizona Republic newspaper, there was an article that was written about that. So, I'm not ruling out the idea that the oral history that we have about our, how our medicine came through Matlokatsuki, which is, you know, again, I guess they call her ISIS. And Zuni really hasn't interpreted that as ISIS yet, only because they probably need to look into more in depth about how we were connected. with the early Egyptian people. And so, as I want to share with you all that is that the more I looked into studying different cultures, the more I learned that, you know, I just thought we may all had the same learnings from. And so as I ventured back home and I started venturing out, I was blessed to have a business to where I could get away. I had offices in Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Arkansas. So I was be able to get out and move around. But as I was moving around, one of the things that I started enjoying doing is that I started visiting other cultures. Like I went to Hopi Reservation, and an elder man named Lomahaktiwa was one of my teachers out there, and Washta. And those two were my teachers. Washta told me more about the sky being people, about the contact, the aliens that I don't like to call them aliens, but the space people that came to Hopi and how they had contact with them. And they taught me a lot about the space people. And because if you look at a satellite picture of Hopi villages, and they are laid out just like the Orion belt. So um, I started looking into that more about the celestial stuff, and Washta told me that this is the mountain, and took me out to I believe it was the northeast side of the reservation. There's a mesa up there. Took me up there and said, "This is where the spaceship landed, and this is how they communicated with the Hopi people in the early times when they just first settled on the mesas." So, and the thing about it is that they have some rocks that could never have been guesstimated that it'd been there, but they had some rocks, and now that I know what moldavite is, they had some out there. Why, I don't know. But I remember seeing some, and I didn't get some until just about last year. Kim bought me a piece of moldavite, and I see a good protection from them. So that's what I used. That's what I still carry around in my pocket, a moldavite. But as the Hopi started teaching me more about the space beings, I started raising my vibration up to I would say the sixth dimension, to where I probably could communicate with them, but I didn't. I don't. I guess I was scared of them, so I came back and I said, this is beyond me. And so I said, but I'll keep it in mind. I'm not gonna rule it out. I'll keep it in mind. So over the years, I started hanging around with people that says, they can see spaceships, they can see that, and they'll come up to me and say, "You see the ship? You see the ship?" And I say, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." And then I started learning from the Galaxy Fraternity, and they said that they are real, and this is the reason why, and they start teaching me why, and they had proof, or their evidence saying that these are some of the things that they left behind for us to ways to communicate with them. And I said, okay. And, you know, I went along with their teachings, and I said, I got to really start narrowing in to my mission, because, you know, I am getting too far out by learning about you know, the space beings, what I encountered in Egypt, even in Israel. I said, whoa, I got to focus in on what I am here to do. So, I started working on myself. And like I said before, when I was working on myself, one of the things that happened to me in my life was that, I guess to really test me on one of the things is my dad and I got hit head on by a drunk driver, and I lost my dad because of that. And I couldn't I couldn't figure out why it happened. I couldn't figure out, you know, why all of a sudden, why did he take this? And and the thing about it is was that, you know, my dad's my dad was a calm natured guy. I mean, you could not ask for a better person in your life. And when I guess it was time for him to cross over, because I know that when a time is time for you to cross over, nothing's gonna hold you back. Nothing's gonna hold you back. So when he crossed over, you know, I had mixed, very, very bad mixed emotion about what had happened. You know, was it my fault? Whose fault was it? Her fault, my fault, or what? And then I start looking at the whole thing and I start meditating. And the more I meditated, I didn't get no answer. I was just like in a daze, when I meditate about trying to get an answer about all this, until one day I was sitting there meditating and I asked, why am I not going deep into my meditation? Why am I not going deep into that meditation? And I was asking myself, why are you not going deep into your meditation? And that's when it hit me. If I need to go deep into my meditation, I have to really, really clear my mind, my body, and my soul. And by cleaning out my mind, I had to, I was there grounding, connecting, but I was not connecting to the fullest because my body was holding me back. The thought about getting hit by a drunk driver was still in the back of my mind because it transitioned my dad over. And so I said, well, what do I need to do? And the first thing that came to my mind was forgiveness, 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 forgiveness. And I said, that's going to be tough. And I said, I will wait for an opportunity. And guess what? When you when you say something, it's going to happen. So I was in public. I went to the tribal offices for something. And I walked into the tribal offices, and Lord and below, who was standing in front of me, it was the lady that hit me head on, the drunk driver that hit me head on. And I thought, wow, is this the opportune time? And she had her family with her. And when she turned around and looked at me, I like froze. And I said, wait a minute, body, you can't freeze. We have a mission to do right now. And so I forced myself. I snapped out of like getting scared, I guess, to where I froze. I snapped out of it. And I walked up to her and I looked at her and I said, ma'am. And she looked at me and she knew who I was. And I said, please forgive me. Please forgive me about the accident. And she looked at me square in the eye and says, why do I need to forgive you? I think you need to forgive me because I'm the one who was under the influence. Shh. Hey, Billy. I got dogs over here too. I'm dog sitting. So, excuse me. Billy, 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 Billy. Sorry, but anyway, 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 I was, I asked for forgiveness. And she looked at me and she says, I need to be forgiven. I'm the one that was driving under the influence. And I said, okay, I forgive you if you forgive me. So, and just the words wasn't enough for me. So I reached out and I hugged her and I gave her a hug. And when I gave her a hug, that's where my forgiveness came. I felt light. I felt, comfortable. I felt good about what I did. So I believe she forgave me and I forgave her. So the next time I meditated, everything was clear. They said, now you are ready. And so I said, okay, so here I go. Here I go again. And back to my same mission, concentrating on my mission. My modalities I started mastering my modalities to where I could do it blind, I could do it blindfolded, whatever, and things started happening to where I started transforming people. And before I knew it, I was constantly busy. I could not say no to people. So people came from all over, not just Zuni, but people from Oklahoma, people from Arkansas, people from Texas. No matter where I was, people knew who I was. They could feel my energy to where they came. And, you know, my thing is that when I started doing my mission and healing started happening, I tell the people, my connection, is it. And I started getting clear, clear vision of my mission. The modalities that I was mastering the connection because I learned that I'm not the one that heals them. It's father, mother, and I'm the connector. So when I connect with father and mother, healing is already out there. The healing is there. When we seek father, mother, and we ask, when we have our manifestation and are seeking our manifestation, it is already out there. It is already out there. And, I don't want to bring out all my modalities right now, but, when people come and ask me, can you help me heal? I got this problem. I got that problem. I look at them and I said, Father can heal anything. Father already has a healing for you. I will help you retrieve that healing so you can be made whole. And again, I learned from different things that I study. Yes, I do quote some of the Bible scriptures. Yes, I do quote some of the things from the Emerald Tablets or the Book of Hermes or the Book of Thomas. That first statement that I read was from the Book of Thomas, where it tells me about the medicine wheel. A lot of people say, I got to call upon the source. I got to call upon mother. I got to call upon the spirit animals. I got to call upon this. No, you don't call upon them. They're already here. Connect with them is the way I was taught. Connect with them. If you're going to use the spirit animals, connect with them. If you're going to use your relics, connect with your relic. Know what they can do because everything has a spirit. That tree has a spirit behind me. The grass, these dogs that I'm babysitting have spirits. Everything has a spirit. this wood that's on this house has spirit, because it came from the tree that when it was alive, it's spirit. So connecting is very important. You know, and that's why, when I connect, I like to stay connected, because you never know. You never know when the dark will try to get you. And I'm gonna close on that part about challenges I went through in the past. One of the challenges I went through in the past was that I went to Zuni with an individual, and the individual was so proud to have the dark within. And we went to the sacred mountain, and I told him, please, whatever you do, because he told me about these entities in him. And I said, okay, there's a portal right there, a good one. If you go over there, whatever you do, it's going to suck out the negative out of you. He said, no, it won't. No, it won't. These people, these entities have been with me for a long, long time. They're not leaving me. He went up there, raised his hands, and boom, boom, boom. Guess what? They got sucked out. He just put his arms down and started crying. I said, what's the matter? I lost my buddies. And I said, you can't tell me I didn't warn you. And he said, wow. And when we got back, things changed for him. It's time to collect for him. And another thing that I got challenged with was, the gifts that I have. Like I say, mastering my gifts. I was approached and says, we'll give you $175,000 if you teach us how to do this, how to do that. And I said, no, because I felt a cold energy while they were asking me. And I said, no, I can't do that, because it took me at that time 48 years to get to where I am. And I ain't got 48 more years right now, I don't think, to start teaching what I know, because I don't teach you. I share with you. It's up to you to learn. And it's up to who you connect with to teach you, to show you, to master you. And the master will come when you commit. And, I just self-discipline myself. I connect every morning at 3:00 in the morning. I connect with the universe. And I say, tell me what's going to happen, so I can expect the unexpected. I don't challenge people. They challenge me. I don't play with them. I let go of the rope. It's no use. I ain't got time for that. And when I first decided to share my knowledge, I approached it wrong. I approached it like my way was the way to do it. But I realized that every one of you who have gifts have your own modalities. I am going to share my knowledge with you, just to basically guide you, show you, and share with you how to enhance not change your modalities, not really want to know your modalities, but just self work on yourself, like I did. Because every time I used to go out camping, most of the time was sitting there meditating. Most of the time was sitting there talking to the fire, talking to the trees, talking to the animals that come around. And some of the things I've done, connecting with the animals, connecting with trees and all that. You know, I was up in the mountain one time near a campground. Connecting with the animals is what I'm going to share with you. There's a little girl, about 6 years old, playing around the dumpster. Well, when the bears get hungry, where do they go? To the dumpster. There's a bear that was approaching her. People started screaming. And they didn't know what to do. So I got up. I said, I'm going to go talk to that bear. I'm going to go communicate with the bear. My brother. I was not scared. I stood up. I didn't approach the bear to his face. I got about within maybe 10 yards from him. And this one song that this one elderly man who I used to sheep herd with taught me. I started singing that song. The bear stood up on his hind leg, growled, growled, and I kept singing that song. As I sang that song, I got closer. Take one step, and I kept singing that song. I took another step forward. I kept another step forward till I got to that little girl. When I got to that little girl, I stood there and I was continuing to sing that song. Then the bear got back on all fours and went back to the woods. I had about 15 people that witnessed that. They looked at me like, who are you? What did you do? I said, I'm just Yawakia. I just told that bear, not today. You need to go back to the woods. That's all I told him. He said, but you were singing a song. You were singing a song that scared the bear. I said, I didn't come here to scare the bear. I just told him I'm here. I'm friendly as it could be. You know, if he let me, I wanted to touch him, but he didn't. He just turned around and went back into the woods. And people said, wow. I said, don't give me the credit. Credit belongs to the father and mother because I was connected with them when I was singing that song. Connection. You know, you would not believe when you connect how strong you are. And I'm not going to go any further to say that, you know, my modalities are mastered in my way. My way. May not be in any other person's eyes, but it doesn't matter. This is between me and the father and the mother. My Trinity, father, mother, and me. And three things become one thing, which is me. And my three things are mind, body, and soul when I connect. So when I connect with my mind, body, and soul and meditate, yes, I am seeking my inner journey when I connect every time. And I do most of my energy work, healing work at 3 a.m. because to us, that's a new day starting. Not midnight, but 3 in the morning is a new day starting, you know. So this is what I want to share with y'all. And this is Greg, Yawakia, or IMSA, Greg Yawakia. I want to thank you for joining One Nation Tribal Alliance. And by the way, that's Aaron behind me. He's looking after me. I don't know why he's looking at, but anyway. Thank you for joining One Nation Tribal Alliance. And thank you for understanding your mission and being awakened, because we are here to raise our vibration all together so we can raise the vibration on this planet, Mother Earth, for a great awakening. Thank you. I love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day. And if you need to find me, One Nation Tribal Alliance. I love you.